Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Maxwell Moore. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm glad that I have another podcast experienced person so that you know how to fill time and fill air and stuff.
Yeah, not like just like stand here or sit here, I should say, for like 5 seconds and not say anything.
Yeah.
I'm a huge podcast fan, and like you said, did you know that I did a podcast before I told you that? Or did you see in the email?
I saw it on Twitter.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, wait, why is Max doing a NASCAR podcast?
That's a really funny story how that exists. But yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I would invite you to our podcast also.
But I also don't know anything about NASCAR.
That could be fun, though. That could be really fun because that's the point of the podcast. But we can get into that later.
Well, I mean, yeah. So my usual first question is now, how do we know each other?
School.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we have Studio One together? I can't even remember.
Maybe.
Honestly, I can't remember. I was thinking about this today. Thinking about the person I was when I first got here compared to how I am now is so different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had a bunch of classes together here at the beautiful Academy of Contemporary Music at UCO.
Yeah. It's a lot of my guests come from ACM.
Cool. That's awesome.
And since I'm graduating, now I don't know where all my guests are going to come from.
Dang.
I mean, probably from UCO. Masters,
you'll know somebody that knows somebody. But yeah, no, we've had classes for 2 years now together. Yeah. And it was a slow burn of friendship, I think.
Yeah.
That's how I am usually with people. I like first year they know me, I don't really say much, and then second year I'm like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, exactly.
We're friends now because we've been around each other long enough.
Yeah, the first year I was like, I don't know anyone.
Yeah, same.
Any friends here.
Yeah, and it was kind of intimidating also. It was kind of just like, dang, this is a music school and I know no one here.
Yeah.
And
then after that, it's like, oh, yeah, I know. Like,
yeah,
I know
everybody
everyone.
here.
Who are all these freshmen? What the heck? Like,
yeah, right? We have such a big freshman group now.
Yeah.
I'm just that's a whole conversation. Nothing bad with that. I just don't know any of them is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so then what do you do?
Oh, gosh.
Or rather, what do you want to do?
Right now, I'm a full-time student, and I have one more semester left, so I'm very excited to be done. What I want to do, in the past, I play in a band called Cosmostanza. I've had an electronic project called Canon Kid. I've helped form a label called Galaxy Swim Team.
Awesome.
And I've started a podcast called Rolling Start.
You're a busy dude.
Yeah, it sucks. And it really sucks because I'm busy right now and I'm not even doing the things I really want to do. Like the podcast is the one thing I get to consistently do lately that I'm like, oh, this makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And obviously school, but it's when you're at school, you're like doing things not exactly what you want, how you want to do them. But for like career-wise, I want to work in analog circuitry. So I want to create synthesizers and work on pedals and stuff like that. And I also want to focus on making music and whatever projects that comes in the future. But my career-wise, I'm really into analog circuitry. It's something that I've really gotten into recently, and I've found out that it's like a career path I actually really like. So.
Yeah. So I guess first, what is that? Explain that to people who don't know what that even means.
So musical equipment from like guitar pedals and old synthesizers and stuff like that, or like compressors and EQs you'd find in studios. All this equipment, it's either, it's made up of a lot of things, but there's some that are made of specifically analog circuitry. So that means no kind of digital chips or anything like that. I mean, you have integrated chips, but it's still all analog. Yeah. And so these are just a bunch. The way I like to talk about it is like Lego parts. You put them all. Yeah, you put them all together, and
hopefully the right order.
Yeah, and with the right soldering. And it makes you put ththese weird circuitry parts like resistors and capacitors and stuff like that. Yeah. And somehow you put them in a way and they make either sound or they make an EQ or affect the signal in some way because it's all electric, and it gets turned into audio, when it goes out through jack to a speaker or something like that. But there's so much more than I ever knew that goes into it. And it's really interesting to me. So that's what basically it is. It's learning the bits and pieces that make up an analog synth, like an MS-20, or like what makes up like what's the difference between a digital and an analog delay. And I really want to learn how that works and make stuff. And I really also want to get into like fixing it because I've heard there's a lot of money to be made. Yeah. So if I get good enough with it, that's kind of like a 30, 40-year-old Maxwell goal.
Right.
Yeah, like down the line, like when I'm like aged, I'm like, oh yeah, I can fix all this. These compressors you have.
Yeah, people treat pedals like crap anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally stomp on them.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to make them durable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, it's really new to me, so I can't be like, oh, this is the exact field I want to go. I want to go into. But it's like, it feels really weird because I finally found something in a really long time that I'm like really passionate about. And it's been a minute, so it feels really good right now.
Yeah. So what made you go like, ooh, analog stuff is my jam?
Okay. So the first thing that got me into analog synthesizers, like synthesizers and stuff like that, is I'm a huge fan of Neon Indian. Have you ever listened to them? They're it's a musician named Alan Palamo. He's from Texas, but he now lives in New York. And he's like, he came up in the 2008, 2009, and I'm air quoting around this, chill wave scene, which is like, it's basically like DIY electronic music, bedroom pop kind of stuff. And he's like all about analog synthesizers. So he's like, I've been a huge fan of their music for a really long time. And he's really into the MS, like his main standby from their first record is the MS-20, a Korg synthesizer that's from like the late 70s, I think it was made. And I liked his music so much. I was like, oh, cool. I want a synthesizer that's analog. So I looked into getting an MS-20 Mini, which is, it's an MS-20 they made recently that's like really condensed, really small. So you play it on a tiny little MIDI keyboard and stuff like that. But I wanted the real thing, and I actually met him at Fun Fest in Austin. He was like, "Dude, you gotta get the real thing. It's what it's all about. You get the big boy with all the knobs." And I actually got one. It's a really funny story. I got the last one in Guitar Center's possession, all Guitar Centers in the U.S.
Dang.
It was online and it was unlisted, and one of my friends worked at Guitar Center. And he like called them up and they got it, and I got it half off. So like I got like a $1,100 MS-20 new half off. But the thing about it is you have to put it together yourself. So that's where it got interesting to me because I was putting together a synth and I got it done and I was like, that was sick. That was really fun learning about all this stuff. So with that synthesizer, I got really interested in analog stuff, and I have like a lot of gear friends who are really into pedals. And they're like, oh, you should check out pedals and stuff like that. So from the synth, it went to pedals, and it's been slowly growing since.
Yeah. So then there's like a lot of intricacies in that world. And I mean, even we were just talking about the podcast that I had with Dustin and Michael.
Dustin's like my mentor for analog circuitry, by the way.
And we talked about like analog and digital on that podcast. And so going further into the intricacies of it, like how much does each little component affect the sound?
Oh, super. Like, okay, so you have a potentiometer, which basically tells like you have a value. Okay, let's, for example, I have my
potentiometer is a knob.
It's a knob. Yeah, it's a knob. I actually have the synth I'm talking about that I made in my backpack right now. But like a potentiometer is going to tell you like your values of like how high or low the voltage can go. There's so many different kinds of potentiometers, and there's so many different values they can go to. So that's like one on its own. And then resistors above that tell it what it can work in, and the voltage, it resists the flow of electricity through it. So it's like you can only get this much voltage. So you can like, there's like I don't even know how many resistors there are. You know, like there's so many different variations to those that can create a different sound.
And there's all that color coding.
That's the fun. And I have an app on my phone.
If you find it fun, I mean, because that to me is just overwhelming. I'm like, let someone else do it.
Yeah, totally. I have an app that does it all for me. Where I'm like, oh, this color, this color, this color, and this color. And it's like, oh, 20K. I'm like, perfect. But I mean, there's so many different parts that you can put in the resistors, capacitors, integrated circuits. Integrated circuits are like op amps that like run into themselves and like bring up the voltage by just running itself into itself. Yeah, so it makes it to like a hearable level.
Okay.
Yeah, when you like run it out. There's so many different variations to it, and that's why people love analog equipment so much. Because they have their own quirkiness to it, and like your stuff's probably going to get messed up over time.
Yeah,
and that's kind of it gives it character, you know.
It's alive.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate to be like the production student saying, "Hey, analog equipment is sick, dude. Analog over digital." But like, I'm not that way because I also love digital stuff. I love making stuff in Ableton alone, but analog's pretty cool. It's cool. It's cool putting it together. That's the thing that got to me, because like when I started doing it, it reminded me of putting together Legos when I was a kid. That was something I really liked, and that was like the click moment for me where I was like, "Oh, dude, I like this a lot." And it reminded me so much of that.
Yeah, it's like Legos for adults.
Yeah, or Beyblades, putting together Beyblades.
I never messed with a Beyblade.
Oh, dude, meet me in the dual disc stadium.
Okay, so then what have you made so far?
I have made my MS-20. Well, I haven't made it. I put it together. I just finished a mono synth with Dustin for his class, and I am currently working on a light. It's like called a light organ. Basically, you run. It sounds way cooler than it actually is. Sure. You run audio through it, and it does lights based on the frequencies. It was like a little kit that I got from Radio Shack on their website because they were going out of business and everything was half off.
Yep.
But basically, you run audio through it, and it does the lights based on the frequencies, so you can mess with the frequencies and like turn on, take off the lows, and the light won't turn on anymore. I'm starting on a tremolo kit I got through Mammoth. Okay. And for pedals, that's going to be my first pedal. And I want to do another synth after that.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's super new to me. But, but I'm learning so much.
I mean, what's like the big like pie in the sky goal? Like what's the big build?
Oh, I want to just make my own synths.
Yeah.
I want to I want to make like my own MS-20 or something like that and sell them. Like and like, I don't know, the DIY pedal community is such a big thing that I feel like I've had these ideas of like integrating the mentality and ideas of DIY pedal making and boutique pedal making to like synthesis, making sense. It's an idea. It's like it's circulating right now. But it's slowly making sense, and it's something that I really think would be cool to do.
All right, so then ranging through some of the other stuff that you do.
Yeah, I'm not all analog circuitry.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess what would be the first thing? Cosmostanza?
Yeah, that was my first music project. We've been playing together for 5 years. Garage rock, noise rock.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Me and my bandmate Rainey went to high school together, and we went to a prep school, and we were like very not preppy.
Sure.
And so we started a rock band. And we've been playing ever since, playing around town.
So what do you play?
I play guitar and I sing.
Okay.
Yeah. It used to be a 2-piece, just guitar and drums, and now it's a 3-piece, but it's 2 guitars and drums, no bass.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just proud of that.
It's kind of like it's kind of like our thing, you know? Yeah. It's, I don't know. It just hasn't made sense yet in the way that I don't know anybody who plays bass that makes sense with us. But I mean, we record bass on like studio stuff. But,
Sure.
But just for live stuff, it's 2 guitars and I play low stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But it's really fun. It's really weird thinking back on the past 5 years of me doing that and where I am now, because my mind is so in like the electronic music world and the like bedroom pop, you know, another air quotes chill wave inspired music that makes up like what I listen to today. But like I just have this knack. I just like can like write a mean guitar song. Like I can just do it because I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm just like
exactly.
It comes really naturally to me now. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, there's different modes that we kind of get into whenever, because I feel a similar way too. That like there's like my guitar songs, like songwriting songs, and then there's electronic music, which is like an entirely different switch that's flipped.
Yeah, totally. How do you feel like, do you like do that on purpose, switch between the two of them, or do you feel like sometimes you're in one or the other one?
I feel like, hey, I'm the one asking questions. I'm just kidding.
No, it is an open discussion, dude.
I feel like if I have the intent of writing a song, like with words, I guess that's the distinction. Like if it has words or if it doesn't.
Oh, gotcha.
That it becomes easier for me to write a song with words with a guitar.
Totally. I feel that completely. It's hard writing electronic music with words.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super hard. Like, I feel like every time when I've tried it in the past, like, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to put chords like I do guitars. Yeah, and then the music I like don't have like pad chords under it. And I'm like, oh, it's like drums and bass and they're singing over that with little like leads over it. It's really tough. Yeah. I haven't got to that like easy side of, well, not easy, I should say, but it hasn't come naturally to me yet. Like, like guitar stuff has. Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do you write or make for Cosmostanza?
I mean, we work together as a group writing. But like, I mean, I write like I do a lot of like demo stuff for them. Okay. Like I'll just like come up with a really bare demo of just chords and singing. And then I'll bring it to them and we'll like morph it together as a band, you know, very generic, like what you expect, like you would in a band aspect, where somebody brings like a general idea and everybody works with it. But yeah.
And then what do you write about?
Oh man, sad stuff. I don't know, depression mostly.
As musicians do.
Yeah. And then like, oh, I haven't heard that one before. Yeah, most of my stuff in that band earlier it was way happier, but I think like the more older I've gotten, the more I like want to write about anxiety and stuff like that because I think that noise aspect and loudness of it is a nice like how can I put this? It pairs well with those lyrics and it's very like loud and yelly and stuff like that. There's times where I'm happy too, I'd like to say. Sure. Yeah. But the most recent release we did through Galaxy Swim Team was very like being bummed zone, you know, rock and roll kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have a hard time writing happy songs too, honestly.
It's tough. It's tough. And also I feel like it's hard to not sound cheesy writing happy stuff.
Yeah, that's usually the first like, man, is this too like cliche or whatever?
Yeah.
Like everything that's been said about happiness like has already been done. Yeah. And very much so.
And I don't know. I wrote some happy stuff when I was younger, but I don't know. I just don't think. I think my happiness doesn't come through my art as much. I think it does in my electronic music a lot more.
Okay.
But that's more like dreamy stuff, and I think that's like I don't know. Where that happiness resides.
Yeah. Well, going on that. Yeah. What about your electronic stuff?
I played in a project called Canon Kid for a while. I'm not currently in a project for electronic music. Okay. I'm going to be going back into it. That's a very like post-college idea. But I still write demos and stuff, but I just haven't made anything that I want to release yet. But I did this project for a while called Canon Kid. It was like an electronic like dream pop kind of thing. I don't know. It was very like soundscapey and like sidechain with huge pads and stuff like that. And then like towards the end of it, I did some remixes. One for my friend Slime Girls, who did a release, and I did a remix for it, and it was like more of a dancey stuff. I did more dancey stuff towards the end of it.
Yeah.
I was really inspired by like early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, like PS1 game soundtracks for that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, it's a really cool texture. And that kind of, that whole project, looking back on it now, is very like about that stuff, like those memories and like, you know, that escapism from my childhood. But yeah, I'm not really doing anything in that right now. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Like it's very like in the horizon, and like every day I'm upset that I'm not working on it yet. But it was really fun doing that, and I learned so much from that project, and that actually led me to creating a label with some of my friends.
Yeah. So what is that?
Galaxy Swim Team is a net label that me and a bunch of my friends from California and Arizona and all over the place, but those are the main people who are based out of there. We made because we were very like when I was doing Canon Kid stuff and that era of my life, we were very like, oh, we want to like release music, but all the cool net labels won't release our music or like we don't really relate to things that are going on around us. Let's create our own thing where we can like really, I don't know, really feel comfortable in our own skin and feel comfortable like sharing stuff the way that we want to. And it's really cool. It's been a really great experience. I met so many friends through it. We've done 2 showcases in Oklahoma, both in Norman. And then we've done showcases in California with the people who did the Steven Universe soundtrack, headlined the last one.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. We've done showcases at South by, unofficial ones. But like those guys are like my best friends. Like, like I don't get to be involved with it as much as I want to now because of school. It's very one of those things where I'm like, cool, when I have more free time, I'll get to get back into it. But we also were not focusing on just electronic music anymore because a lot of us have moved on to projects that have guitars and stuff like that and then live drums. So we're trying to just release things that interest us in the time. And like the most recent Cosmostanza stuff was released through it. We did a trading card game for it.
Whoa.
Yeah, we made a full-fledged working trading card game. So that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then we're also all about that, like having generic ways of releasing music. We did a video game with the comp release we released last month.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was all art and assets made by people in the label.
That's great.
And it's a little demo. You like walk around and see weird 3D art and stuff while the comp plays. But like we're all about like not having what you'd expect from our label. Yeah.
Yeah, and that sounds like really great and really fun, really creative. So I mean, going forward into whatever it is, like music labels and music publishing or music whatever is sort of like dying because these juggernauts of record labels are just eating themselves.
Yeah, it's really interesting learning about that kind of stuff and like having a viewpoint going here in school and learning about that in a school way and then also working within that label and learning about like personal people who have been affected by that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool that I'm alive during the time that I'm alive in. Like, I'd rather be alive right now than like in the past where major labels do have a control over like what is really seen. Because like the labels that I really like look up to, like Father Daughter Records, do everything themselves, and it's very DIY. Like, DIY bands and DIY labels can like make a huge splash and don't really need the help of major labels anymore. And I think that's really cool.
How do you think sort of the future looks for record labels?
Geez, I don't think it looks good for majors because I feel like I think they'll always have a control over something with the major public. But I think everybody has their own niche now that they like with Spotify and stuff like that. You find like you don't listen to the radio anymore. Like I hate the radio, but I listen to my Discover Weekly on my Spotify that like recommends me stuff based on the stuff I listen to. And I think that's like really major labels don't really like that. They like being in control and seeing like what you should see. I don't know. I was at my dad's house and he had the like iHeartRadio like they had like a big show. Like they have a yearly like concert. I barely recognized anybody on there. And I was like, and also this doesn't relate to me. And also I'm kind of, I mean, I'm sure the major population isn't interested what I'm interested in. But I think that says something where it's like when I was younger, a lot of that stuff would resonate with me and people that I know. And now it doesn't. But I think, I don't know. I really don't know. I think major labels will lose less control or they'll lose some control. They'll always be in control in some way.
Sure.
But I think we're in a really cool time where we really don't need their help. So
it's great.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You can do anything.
Yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. And being aware of that and feeling confident in yourself and feeling like, cool, I can do this on my own is a really cool feeling. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And then your NASCAR podcast.
On left field. My sibling and I have been going to NASCAR races since our family was really into NASCAR when we grew up. And my sibling Garland is really into NASCAR. They're you met them, you wouldn't expect them to be this NASCAR fan, but they are. And I would always like when I'm at their place, I'd watch them I'd watch races with them while I'm hanging out. and I would start learning things about the podcast, about NASCAR, and I think it's really interesting.
Sure.
I'd be like, this is really interesting, but also this is also like the silliest sport in existence.
Yes.
And it's really funny to make fun of, but also appreciate. It's a very, very weird relationship with it. So basically, we started this podcast so people could understand NASCAR a little bit more.
Yeah.
But also understand how ridiculous and dumb it is sometimes.
Sure.
So it's very like we talk about the interesting things about it and how much goes into it, but we also like call it out on it's bullshit. And it's just like any other sports podcast. We like make villains out of people, we make heroes out of people. But it's really fun. I've had a great time doing it, and we're kind of just starting it up, so we're just kind of feeling it out. We're about to go into off season, so I think we're gonna like review the NASCAR video game that came out and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's we talk about video games a lot also on that podcast.
I'm just kind of surprised that there is a NASCAR video game.
Yeah, dude, NASCAR Heat 2. It's really cool because it's, I don't know if cool is the right word, but there's like a career mode.
Yeah.
And then in the career mode, like they have like, I guess they like met up with some of the racers and took videos of them talking to you. So they're like, hey, nice racing out there. You want to join my team? And it's very like mid 2000s, like sports game sounding. And that I'm excited to see the silliness of it. But yeah.
So I guess what's like one of the things about NASCAR that any other person that has no idea what it's even about, like what's one thing that like would totally surprise anyone?
So they have like engineers. I mean, this sounds like it's like, of course they do, but like they have engineers that work on the car each week and there's specific parameters that NASCAR allows them to like make, like, okay, you can only use these kind of parts.
Sure.
So they're trying to make the fastest car using those parts.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, here's a weird comparison. It's like analog circuitry, but it's kind of like, wow, how can we make this thing so fast, the fastest it could be in the most like without blowing up the engine and stuff like that with these restrictions that we have. So like each week they're like making a new car. So you have like a team, they have a team, like it's not just like, hey, I'm Dale Jr., I'm the racer and I made this car myself. It's like they have a whole team of people working behind them. So I think that's really cool. But also there's a lot of racist people in NASCAR.
Seems like it.
And it's got a lot of problematic stuff in it. But we're not afraid to talk about that on the show, which is cool. Which is really cool. Yeah. No other NASCAR podcast, I'm sure, talks about the problematic stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's great. All right. So since we've already taken a weird turn already, let's go ahead and take another turn.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Hit me.
What is the role of spirituality or religion in your life?
Oh, geez. From analog circuitry to NASCAR to religion. Yeah. This is actually a really really weird question that I've been thinking about. Like I've been thinking about it way before like you even were like, hey, this is going to be a question that I might ask you on the podcast. Because I grew up very Christian. Like my parents were very like not like push it on you Christian where you like, you know, like the fear of God in your eyes kind of thing. But they were very like, we go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I went to Crossings on the north side like every Sunday. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be watching Nickelodeon. I would be like on the little like what's the things you send in donations on, like the little slips.
Oh yeah.
I would be drawing on those every time instead of listening to the sermon. The only time I remember like something from church was when he mentioned Snapple, like the priest or whatever, I don't know what they're called, mentioned Snapple. And I was like, I drink that. That's funny. And then I like went back to drawing. So even when I was young, I was very like, okay, this doesn't relate to me very well.
Sure.
I was raised on those kind of morals and stuff like that. Not like, I mean, I'm a non-binary, like, pan person. I'm not, like, super Christian values, but, like, in the way that, like, morals of, like, you know, don't be a dick and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then for a really long time, I didn't, like, think of it much.
Yeah.
Wherever was like, after my mom and my siblings stopped going to church on the regular, I stopped thinking about it. It just wasn't part of my life.
Yeah.
And whenever, like, religion to be brought up, I'd be like, I don't know, dude. And I'm kind of still there, but I've been like thinking about that because like basically right now in my life, I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm a religious person.
Sure.
But like, I don't know. But sometimes it's nice to, I feel like inspiration and like my feelings that people get from religion where they're like, oh, I can do it and I can do anything and stuff like that comes from very like my relationship with my consciousness, if that makes any sense. Where it's like when people would pray before bed and they would like sit down and be like, God, please help me with this. Please help, this person. I feel like I kind of have those same conversations with my conscious. Where I'm like, hey, I'm afraid and I don't know if I could do this. Or I'm like, man, I'm really, I don't know what's going on and I'm really, freaked out. So I don't know is what I'm trying to get at. I really don't know. But I believe like everybody has their own experience with religion and their own, like no religion is wrong. And well, religion is wrong when it's being like hurtful and stuff like that, and being pushed on people. But I feel like you can have your own experience with your religion or spirituality. I feel like spirituality is a little bit more closer to where I feel, where it's like
exactly.
I feel things. I don't know.
Well, and that's kind of why I frame the question in that way, rather than just religion.
Yeah, totally.
That spirituality, like you can be spiritual without being religious.
Yeah, totally. And that's like, I think like spirituality for me is like meditating and like thinking and being alone for a second, just being like, what's going on in the world around me, and like taking it in and like evaluating things, and
of course.
Instead of being like, I have to go to church every Sunday because that's what I've been told I need to do and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say I'm very religious. I'm not. I don't put myself in a religion.
Sure.
I don't know if spiritual is the word I would use for myself, but I'm very like in tune. I like being in tune. Yeah.
And that's good. And it's being connected and being, I don't know, but
yeah.
So then this question I'm trying to force myself to continue asking because it is direct and straightforward. You don't have to answer it direct and straightforward. But God, question mark?
I don't know.
That's good.
That's I don't know, dude. That's I don't think so.
Yeah.
But God means a lot of things to different people.
Yeah.
And God could be a lot different thing for you than it is for me. And jeez, God, I don't know, dude. I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna say no.
Yeah,
but
you don't have to like stand by that. Answer,
but I'm gonna say no. But the things you can get from that relationship you can have with that idea, you can have through different things.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
and then another one, which is almost as tough or even tougher, is free will? Question mark.
Oh, jeez. In what way? I thought you were going to say God 2, and I've been like, yeah, God 2. I'm all about God 2.
God 2, the sequel.
Bigger and stronger.
God 2, The Return. God 3,
God 2, Free Will.
The Revenge. God 4, The Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, nice. God 2, this time he's back.
So a lot of people have a hard time defining free will, but I guess it's easier in defining determinism, which is the things that you decide and do are always determined by the things that have affected you in the past.
Yes. I think very yes. Yeah. Like, I think about that a lot because, like, as somebody who deals with, like, mental illness and stuff like that, like, I wouldn't have that if I didn't have things that happened to me in the past. And I wouldn't be here right now talking to you if I didn't make decisions I made in the past and stuff like that. So I think yes in that way. I know free will means a lot to different people, but I feel like you're very affected by your past, and that's like the groundwork of the person you are today. But that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. I think that's a thing that's sick. And it could be bad, and it could be really bad, and it could be really sick. And you got it. So it's that whole, like, man, the things that happened in my past are the things that are going on in my life right now are a direct reflection of things that happened in my past is like super interesting to me. Psychology 101 is super interesting to me.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like, I kind of consider myself a sort of philosopher, and so in that regard, I want to know people's different answers to that question. So.
Yeah, totally.
So then you said you were raised on like Christian morals.
Yeah.
So then how has that sort of been different since like at some point you just stopped going to church? And so how has that changed? Like, have you become more of a dick or less of a dick? Or
I don't know. I think it's very like, I think when I think about like what is left over from my being raised a Christian,
mm-hmm.
it's very like follow the rules.
Yeah.
Follow the rules. You have to follow the rules, and you have to do it the way you're told to be done. And that's been my whole life. Like I'm really good at following the rules.
Yeah.
But over time I've been learning like I'm a lot happier when I'm not doing that. And I mean that's of course you are, but like I think that my biggest thing that's left over from that is like that, and also like be nice to other people and listen to other people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But also like lately that I've been following, like I've been agreeing and disagreeing with that mentality. Counts on the situation really, but I don't know. I think the morals, like my moral code is very based around Christianity, but not in the way that like Christianity in the way that like you can't be gay or you can't, that kind of like scary Christianity, in the way that like, be nice to other people and nice people will be nice to you, like, just those kind of like generic, like what Christianity is like when generic answers. I don't know.
And then how has sort of being non-binary sort of affected your view of religion?
Oh, super. Like like being queer and being non-binary and being raised in a very Midwest Bible Belt like Christianity world environment is very like, well, I should feel bad for having these thoughts, and I should feel bad for being attracted to the same sex, or I should feel bad for, I don't know, like going against what these versions of Christianity thinks. And I mean, I had a lot of guilt from that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm thankful to have like a family that's really accepting of it. But I mean, I definitely have people like on my social media that are like I went to school with or something like that. They're like, what, they're like, don't take me seriously and stuff like that. So when it comes to like that stuff, I'm very just like, fuck that. I'm going to do what I want to do. Yeah. And I'm going to, because I know deep down, like, even if I was Christian, I would know like God would be cool with that, because he'd be like, oh yeah, that's sick because you're doing your thing. Yeah. So like, I'm very now in the mentality where I'm like, I have a very moral code that I like, that I stand by. And I'm not going to let any kind of like religion base like maybe want to change it. Like I drive by this like Baptist church on the way to work every day, and they have like, they're like, those like tickers that have sign tickers that move. Yeah. This one is like very like, every time I see it, I'm like, y'all are onto something in the bad way, because they have like things like, oh, they had like one about twerking, like you should be like praying instead of twerking, or they had like we kneel at the cross and stand at the flag. I was like, oh, jeez, y'all are missing the point. Like that kind of religion is what like makes me want to like push away from the idea of a religion.
Exactly.
And when I see stuff like that, I'm like, y'all are missing the point. Y'all are in Christianity and y'all are missing the point of kind of its thing, So that kind of stuff just makes, now I'm just to answer your question, now I'm just in a place where I'm like, fuck those people. I'm going to do what I want. I'm very confident in myself. But yeah, there's been times where I was younger where I was like rejecting my gayness, or rejecting not feeling masculine enough, and not what a man should be under Bible Belt Christianity, and being like, I don't feel good about myself because of that.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of these conflicts kind of stem from just ignorance, really. It's not even like bad natured, like I'm not even saying ignorance as in like stupidity, but like literally just ignorance. And so I think that most people that hate gay people don't know any gay people.
Oh yeah. Or they're gay and they're
right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're trying.
Like how many senators that are like, oh, no gay people have been caught having gay sex.
Yeah, exactly. And people in religion.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think they're scared of something that goes against what they've been told their whole life.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to be accepting.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like just accepting of like, dang, maybe the things I've been told are not right. You know, maybe I should question stuff like that. And I mean, that's very like philosophical, like mentality.
Yeah.
But I think they're also scared of like, they see that stuff in themselves, stuff like that. Cause I think everybody's a little gay. Like,
sure.
Yeah. You're going to find one person you're attracted to, probably the same sex.
I'm like right up against that bi wall.
Hell yeah.
On the Kinsey scale.
Yeah. That's sick. Yeah. And it's very liberating to accept that. And it's very liberating to be like, I don't have to fall under any kind of like name or like idea.
Yeah, exactly.
You are who you are as a person. If you find it cool that helps you feel more comfortable, like non-binary helps me, like that's awesome. But like,
yeah,
I don't know, like it's really weird because I don't really talk to those people that like, I don't have a lot of people in my life that are making me feel terrible about being
gay. Because you've probably been taking care of yourself and trying to put those people out of your life.
Yeah, but I sometimes I think like, dang, I was super religious at one point in my life, and I think this way now. Why don't you? You know? So it's like you said, it's ignorance and fear and not learning to accept and missing the whole point entirely.
So what do you want those people to know that if I don't know who listens to this, but like what if someone is especially bigoted
by the things I'm saying?
Yeah, what would you want them to know about who you are, who just your community is, or whatever that like their ignorance is keeping them from understanding you?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked, like, even thought about that before. I would want them to just learn that, like, I'm not any less valuable than any other person in their life that, like, is air quotes straight. Like we, like the queer community, LGBT community, anybody who's like cis is just as valuable as anybody who is under one kind of and under like a cisgender or non-religious are just as important as, religious people. Yeah. And I don't know. That's a really hard question because I just want them to know that that those people, like POC people and LGBT people and like people that are different than what they are used to be talking to are just as valuable and deserve just as much respect, and their voices need to be heard just as well.
You're all people.
Exactly.
We're all people.
And that's sick. And having a diverse group of people around you is really important. Yeah. To learn stuff, and putting stuff out of your comfort zone is really important to growing as a person. So maybe you should try that out. Try talking to somebody that's not Christian. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool. It's cool.
And then, so how has this sort of, I guess, spiritual but not religious point of view affected the stuff that you do, the things that you make, music, but in other regards?
I think mostly it has to it makes me look at my lyrics and be like, what am I really trying to say here? Is the things that I'm trying to say have meaning and really falling under what I truly believe? Yeah. Because it's really easy to write shitty lyrics that don't relate to what you're saying or not really misproperly sharing your feelings. And I think it's very important as somebody who's part of a community, like an art community or a music community, to if somebody does something terrible because it gets your morals in your community, to not act like that person is okay and act like it didn't happen. Yeah. I'm very in the mentality of if somebody is abusing somebody or something like that they should be we shouldn't accept that within an art community.
Exactly.
And that's something that really stand by. The cool thing about Galaxy Swim Team, and very cool thing about like the people I surround myself in the local scene, is that like I have no tolerance for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a perfect person, because in the past, like I didn't understand these things. And growing up, I've really become to learn like how important it is for everybody to feel comfortable within a space and stuff like that. And that's really important to me, like as an artist.
Yeah.
Is to make sure like everybody feels comfortable and feels accepting, and like nobody can feel like hurt or like I don't know, attacked.
Yeah.
In that space.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, people have been very much attacked lately, if not personally, but like just in a general, hey, here's a thing that we are just supporting or letting it happen.
Yeah. Are you talking about like artists supporting things that you wouldn't expect them to?
Well, no, I mean like politically, that all of fucking Charlottesville.
Oh yeah, I mean one of my friends is on ice hold right now. They're a DACA representative, and they've been put on ice hold and within the art community. And no, I feel it. I get what you're saying completely. Like this stuff is the environment that we're in right now is very. It sucks that it's gotten to this point, because it always should have been this important, to talk about it. But we've let it go on. We've been too like pushed it under the rug. But like, dude, in the environment we're in right now, it's like I can't be silent, and I can't like not stand for the things that are important to me.
And it's really important for everyone to be able to like speak up, whether it be politically regarding, I mean, like that fucking tax bill that just passed for whatever reason.
That was a stressful morning when I read that. And that was the same day as like I found out my friend got on ice hold. So it was like, this day sucks. That was a very shitty day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think something's gonna happen?
Yeah, I do. I definitely don't think Trump's going to be in presidency after 4 years. Like he's going to be. Yeah, I think we've already seen like a lot of one of the most recent polls, like or not polls, voting. Like we have a trans person got voted into like in the northeastern states. I think it was. We're seeing response. Yeah, because I think a lot of Republican people are also like, what's going on? But also some of them are being worse than ever. I think we're going to see change, and I think it's really important for us to continue to be loud and continue to not be quiet and be like, oh, it's been a year since Trump's been in presidency. Well, also like, dude, something happens every week now where I'm just like, oh, this is the worst timeline. Yeah. This sucks.
And I think at this point we're just being so desensitized.
Isn't it scary? It's super scary.
It's just like, oh, look, another thing that's terrible. It's like, fucking.
Oh man,
what do you expect?
Yeah, that's just 2017, but it's not just 2017. It's always how it's always been. But we need to not be quiet about it and not be like, oh, it's whatever,
Yeah. What's a good way of standing up for that?
I mean, supporting your LGBT and POC people in your life is extremely important. Supporting for an artist, supporting artists that are POC and LGBT. I mean, go to rallies, support, donate to people that need it. Don't be afraid to say something when somebody around you is being terrible. Be a good ally, Be a proper ally to trans people, POC people, gay people. Just don't be quiet. Don't be a bystander in a lot of ways. Yeah. Because like that's when we think it's okay for that to happen, when we don't say anything. Yeah. Look into resources like the ACLU and see if you can call your governor about stuff like the net neutrality thing that's going on right now. Yeah. And that's a whole conversation on its own. There's a lot of ways to get involved in it, and I think there's a lot of really good organizations to look into. And I mean, ACLU is like the first one that pops in my head, but and they're not perfect on their own. They've made their mistakes also, but like groups like that exist for a reason, and they're there to support people. Exactly. And I don't know, donate to your local like LGBT groups. Donate to people that need it. Share people, and at least like share stuff on social media instead of like only sharing. I don't know, like if you believe in something, like put it out there, and support it.
Yeah, I think it's great. Heck, even all right, let's go for it.
What's
at the
up?
end, no, I was just like I'm trying to like gauge time and listen and
totally.
questions and stuff. So the last question I usually ask, unless there's another point that I'm missing, is there something else about you that I'm missing?
I love Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And dumb early 2000s kids anime.
Cool. Let's do that right now then.
Yeah.
What is it like? I mean, that was a part of my childhood when I was growing up, but it never like impacted me in that same way. Yeah. How is it that it affected you?
Me? Oh, geez. I mean, that whole Canon Kid project's like based around those feelings. Artistically, like late 90s and early 2000s, like N64 and PS1 games are like so cool to me. Like that low poly feel of it. Like it's just so like, it's a lot of it's nostalgia. I'm not gonna like be like, oh no, there's some like wild like feeling. I was into it when I was a kid, but it's like I find ways for it to inspire me in new ways when I come back to it. Like I don't know, there's just things about like there's a Digimon movie called Our War Game, which was when the Digimon movie was released in America. It's actually 3 movies that were released in Japan put into 1 movie. And the second one's called Our War Game. And for some reason, every time I watch that I watch that movie, I just feel like good. I'm like, everything's gonna be okay. It inspires me in that way. And like, and there's levels of it where it's like I remember this from my childhood, and this has a good feeling to me. But also, this is part of me. It's like part of my like character now. Like it's not like, I was into that when I was a kid and then I stopped caring about it. It's like, no, I've cared about dumb stuff like that like my whole life. So it's just kind of part of who I am now. And I kind of wear it on my chest now instead of being like literally with my pens, but like but like I kind of just be like, that's cool. I like playing card games. I like anime, older anime. I like video games. I mean, and it's cool that we're in an environment now where that's more than ever, like, you're not going to be bullied for that, you know? Because, like, growing up, let me tell you. It's weird also seeing how cool stuff like that is now. And then back in the day being like, I got bullied on the playground for this stuff, you know? But it's cool. It's just part of my, like, those games and those shows are part of my, like, my DNA, you know? Like, they're just part of who I am. And it's... but it's also really silly because some of them are like silly, like Digimon and stuff like that. But also, it's like it's fun. Yeah.
What's your favorite PS1 64 generation game?
My favorite game of all time is Diddy Kong Racing. So that one. I'm a huge kart racing fan. Like that era kart racing game. I talk about the trilogy a lot. And that's also in the NASCAR podcast I talk about. I make a lot of comparisons. We have this thing called Maxwell's Corner, and I mention a character in a racing game, and Garon has to compare them to a real NASCAR racer.
That's great.
Yeah. But I talk about the trilogy a lot. It's Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart 64, and Crash Team Racing. And those 3 games are so good. Diddy Kong Racing is like just a really good game. It's got this cool, like, you got 3 different kind of car, like, racing aspects of it. There's this really cool adventure mode in it. Its multiplayer is not as good as the other 2, but man, the single player is better than the other 2. It's so good. It's got that Rareware soundtrack. Can't remember if it was David. I think David Wise worked on that soundtrack, not Grant Kirkhope. But it's just good. Yeah, I love that game. How about you? Did you play a lot of games back then?
No, it was. I started kind of late on that. Yeah. So more so of what influenced me is like PS2, Xbox generation.
I mean, that's a good generation also. It's a really good generation.
Here's a more logistical question.
Yeah.
What is Diddy Kong's relation to Donkey Kong?
He's his nephew.
But.
Who's the parents?
Well, no, but Donkey Kong is an ape.
Oh, and Diddy
Kong is a monkey.
The Kong family is very... Where does Lanky Kong come into play? That's the real question. He's supposed to be his nephew, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, dude. What I like to think is that Donkey Kong has some family members, got some extended family members, and he really maybe like they drop off Diddy Kong at Donkey Kong's place, and they're like, "Have fun. We got to go, go on a banana date in the forest, And they're like, and DK is like, in his DK64 voice, he's like, okay, and then they get into some wacky hijinks together. And they've just become best buds since, and they're always hanging out. But somehow Diddy Kong got a peanut gun. I don't know when that came into play.
Yeah.
I don't know who gave him that.
Yeah.
Actually, what's his name? Chunky? No, not Chunky. One of the Kongs DK64 has like an armory, and he's the one who gave him the gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know this fun fact.
Yeah.
But Cranky Kong, the old.
I know, right?
Yeah. He is the Donkey Kong
from the original
Jumpman.
Yeah, I know, right? the Mario lore is extremely weird. Have you looked into it?
Yeah.
And all the like connected games because of it, like so in Diddy Kong Racing, Conker and Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie are in it. So that means Diddy Kong knows those two, who knows Donkey Kong, who knows Mario, who knows everybody Mario's met, and these are all the same world, all the same universe.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, and then if you take like Smash Brothers into it.
I think that's a little.
It all falls apart.
I think that's a little stretching it. I think that's like a little like that's not canon in the Mario canon. But like I mean Mario runs into some wild people.
Yeah, or like original NES Mario Bros. Like you know how like the booklet explained that like do you know this?
Go on.
All of the people in the Mushroom Kingdom were turned into bricks.
Yeah, isn't that fucked up?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like canon anymore.
Yeah,
but like Mario is a mass murderer.
Yeah, I think it's still canon. I also think it's bullshit that Nintendo said Mario's not a plumber anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's some bullshit. Shigeru Miyamoto, I'm on you.
All right.
Shiggy, I know you're listening right now.
Down that rabbit hole. But I guess. On the last part, or the last question that I asked on the first podcast, what advice do you have for people?
Geez. I mean, the biggest times I've been most frustrated with myself is when I'm not being honest with myself deep down. And I would just be like, okay, like what's important to you and you know what you really want to do. Yeah. And try your best to make sure you can do that. Yeah. And be honest with yourself and don't like criticize yourself for being different. And that's really generic. That's like a Hallmark card. But like a lot of the times where I've like really hated myself and really disliked myself is because I wasn't being honest with myself. Yeah. And if you just be honest with people and honest with yourself, you'll be surprised how tight life can be. Yeah. Like it's really good. Yeah. So just be honest with yourself, make art that's cool, and have fun with it. And and if you're getting super stressed out, reevaluate. Just be like, why am I super stressed out by this? And why am I not having fun with this anymore? Yeah. And where my importance lies in my art. Yeah. So, yeah.
Max, thank you for doing this with me.
Of course.
Where can we find you and your things?
Okay. So Cosmostanza has a Bandcamp. Cosmostanza.bandcamp.com. Galaxy Swim Team also has a Bandcamp, but also a website, galaxyswimteam.com. Yeah. Rolling Start has a Tumblr, rollingstart420.tumblr.com. And then Canon Kid Stuff is on soundcloud.com/canon. What's it like?
Underscore?
No, it's like the line. They switched it to they can
dash.
Dash, thank you. Dash Kid. And also has a Facebook and a Twitter. And you can follow my Twitter because I'm a hilarious comedian on Twitter.
Your Twitter's pretty great.
Thank you. I'm always like, my Twitter presence is really just silly. Twitter.com / and I'm really proud of this at Patamon. I'm really proud of that I got that one. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
you should really come on the. Now I want you on the NASCAR.
I don't know anything about NASCAR, but
it would be fun to have you on.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I'd be glad to do so.
Yeah, we can do something.
Yeah. Which of these I guess like if do you want a Cosmostanza song or on this? Or
yeah, you can play Gossip by us.
All right.
That's a song I'm really proud of.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. This has been. One more time. What was that song title?
Oh, Gossip.
Gossip. Okay. Yeah. So that I remember it whenever I say it after this slew of things, which I always say. Thank you for listening. My name is Santiago Ramones.
I'm Maxwell Moore.
You can find all the things that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music at this podcast. You can find and you can download or buy stuff from my Bandcamp, which will have a link for my website anyways.
That stuff's really good.
I hope so. I don't know.
It is good.
Thank you. And you can download it or buy it. You can pay $0. You can pay $100. You can do whatever you want. But enjoy. I always end my podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong. Now this is Gossip by Cosmostanza.